for Education.
Thank you, sir. It's a great pleasure to be able to speak after the member for Giles, because while I was disappointed that the member for Mount Gambier, who is a man I have some regard for his political judgment on most occasions, it was disappointing to see him move the motion. I am absolutely chuffed to be able to respond to the member for Giles and the Labor Party's point of view on their lack of service to regional South Australia in the last 16 years, their failure over 16 years of Labor government to deliver a new high school for the people of Whyalla as being a case in point, the failure of the Labor government to deliver new entrepreneurial education in Mount Gambier, the failure of the Labor government in so many ways. Sir, I seek to move an amendment to the motion to delete everything after this House and read A, that recognises the importance of regional South Australia and its communities. B, acknowledges South Australia's regions underpin the state's economy, contributing more than $20 billion. C, highlights this government's $773 million investment over 4 years as allocated in the 2018-19 state budget. D, notes the Marshall Liberal government is committed to growing our regions. And E, notes that the former Labor government's country cabinet schedule did not see meaningful improvements to Labor policies and prefers the Liberal government's method of meaningfully engaging with regional South Australia. Hundreds of meetings, hundreds of visits from cabinet ministers.
Minister, given that you've mentioned country cabinet, I will accept the amendment.
Thank you, sir. Hundreds of visits from cabinet ministers within the first year. The member for Mount Gambier and the member for Giles talk about how on 3 occasions a year, or maybe 2, it's not entirely clear, but certainly on fewer occasions than can be counted on one hand, members of the former Labor government's cabinet visited country South Australia. They had the member for Frome, who would drive to his electorate, obviously, as a member of the cabinet, but the Labor members of cabinet, they had to get out their GPS and they had to find out where the schedule was for the country cabinet, and then they go and visit somewhere that they'd never been before. They would turn up to a meeting, if they turned up, and I'm not sure that all of the members of the cabinet turned up to every single one of those country cabinet meetings, and then all of them would be available at once. So if you had 2 ministers that you wanted to meet with, or 2 issues that you were concerned with the government, then over the course of 4 years, if you were lucky to be in town on the day that they happened to turn up, then you could choose one of the issues that was concerning to you and raise it with them. Those opposite talk about the cutting of the budget for country cabinets and the opportunity to apply for a $50,000 worth of project as if that was in fact the priority for regional South Australia. Those opposite want us to fund country cabinet. We want to fund country priorities. We want to fund service delivery in the country. We want to fund new schools in the country. We want to fund entrepreneurial programs such as that which I was happy to announce at the Mount Gambier High School with the member for Mount Gambier just before I bought him lunch, just before we went on to a series of other visits in his electorate of Mount Gambier to have meaningful discussions with a range of people which the member for Mount Gambier should know about because he was there, he was watching. Not a departmental official insight other than when we were there to ask departmental officials questions. The fact is, this is a government that has genuine engagement with our regions. This is a government that will continue to have genuine engagement with our regions. And one of the reasons I know that that's possible is that the member for Giles was so proud of the fact that 22,000 people had voted on their Fund My Idea country cabinet website. Around the cabinet table today, there are ministers who have received combined far more than 22,000 votes. There are far more South Australians in the country who have input into every decision made by this government as a result of the fact that we actually have regional MPs in the cabinet. We have more cabinet members who are from the regions originally, and I can tell you what, you can take David Ridgway out of Bordertown, but you can't take Bordertown out of David Ridgway. The fact is that the members of the Liberal Party who form this government and the members of the Liberal Party who form this cabinet are of the country. They are in the country. They are regularly engaged with the country. And most importantly, sir, we are delivering for the country. It is a prime objective of this government to ensure that, for example, in education, every child, in every classroom, in every school, in every town, in every region in this state will be supported to fulfil their potential. It is a policy of this government that we want country South Australians to prosper, to thrive, to succeed, to continue to contribute as they do to our successful economy because #regions matter.